Audio Jungle.
What's going on? This is Councilman Bashir Jones, and I hope and pray all is well. This is episode 4 of Kelley Talks, and I'm here with the man himself, Council President, the next mayor of this great city, my good friend, Kevin Kelley. What's up, man? How you doing, man? Good. Thank you for being here. You know, these next 2 topics that I want to talk to you about, besides safety, has been hot topics: education and CPP, or utilities. So let's start with utilities first.
Sure.
Because this has been, as we travel around, a big topic in neighborhoods, especially the east side of Cleveland, because the majority of the customers are coming from the east side. So what's going on with this, man? What's happening?
Sure. So let's just all accept that CPP has not lived up to expectations. Let's just accept the fact that the customers deserve better. Okay. So what am I going to do as mayor? First of all, we saw the study that was leaked about the different, issues with it. We need to know the real condition of CPP today. Mm-hmm. We need to do an overhaul. We need to do a top-to-bottom assessment of both the capital product and the operations. But we have to make sure the customer service is top-notch so that our citizens get the answers that they deserve when they call, because they're the customers. They're entitled to it. This is a utility. That means people's, lives depend on it.
How do you? But people are going to ask the question, what makes you different from Mayor Jackson? There's people who are going to say, or people who are saying, Kevin Kelley is just a continuation of Mayor Jackson. In regards to this right here, how do you take a hard stance and go in a direction that maybe Mayor Jackson wasn't willing to go?
Well, I'll tell you, I was the chair of public utilities during what I consider one of the worst customer service crises that we've ever had. The bills weren't going out. They were estimated bills. They were way off. I mean, it was a mess. And, I worked with the administration to correct that, to put together, a system. Now, we're not even exactly where we need to be yet, but compared to where we were, we have made tremendous progress. We need to have a similar approach to CPP. We need to have somebody look at this. We need some subject matter expert that's going to tell us what's wrong. I am going to, take this baton, and I am going to make sure that CPP rises to the level that people expect. CPP is an entity, it's utility that provides great opportunity. I think that if done properly, CPP could assist with the digital divide. They could provide broadband access, similar to the city of Chattanooga. We are not being creative enough. We're not being visionary enough about what Cleveland Public Power should look like, what it should do.
Do you have any plans in your first 100 days and how you'll deal with it in your first year, your first term?
First 100 days is we need to do a top-to-bottom overhaul assessment of the state of the product, the state, the capital, the operations, and what could be. We need to evaluate, because Cleveland Public Power owns all of the streetlights, all those poles. Well, can we use that to provide community-based Wi-Fi? Can we use that to provide broadband and deliver, fiber to homes? I think it's all possible, but we have to think big, we have to be visionary, and we have to really hit this thing hard.
I appreciate the fact that, one of the things I was really excited about under your leadership is that we were able to brighten the streets up. Mm-hmm. I mean, now we have, street lights down blocks that were like so dark. So how do you deal with that still in parts of the neighborhood you have blocks that are totally dark, and that's been some of the complaints as well. How do we make sure that we keep our streets bright? And because that stops violence too.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think we have to just really get back to the base level stuff of what we should be doing. Every corner, every neighborhood needs to be clean, safe, and bright. And we need to make sure that the LED program is expanded to every single street light, every single pole.
I like that, man. I like
that. It's got to happen.
Yeah, I like
because,
that.
If you recall, these devices, the LED device that we put on, they can be Wi-Fi, capable.
Right.
With a simple adjustment, with a simple antenna on top of it, we can make those hotspots. We have to put the pop site in and make sure that we are connecting to the internet, to the backhaul, but it can be done. We just have to have the will to do it, because you know what? With ARPA, now we have the money.
And I was going to ask you, because now you have these ARPA dollars.
Yeah.
how do we make sure that, as mayor, even something as simple as that, when you said that, how do we make sure, maybe there is an African-American or Hispanic or women-owned, or an Asian business, who provides those? What will be your process to making sure that we have a diverse pool of businesses that can offer services?
Just like everything that I'm going to do as mayor, it's going to start with that idea, that lens, that you're going to make sure that I am going to make sure, and you're going to hold me accountable. My colleagues are going to hold me accountable. I'm going to make sure that every dollar we spent is done through a lens of equity, and that we are including, women-owned, Black-owned, Asian-owned, minority-owned businesses all to the table to make sure that we are using our economic power both to provide a service, but also to build wealth within our community.
I love it, man. I love it. Hispanic owned. Yeah, I love it. Well, education is the nucleus. You actually have a daughter that goes to
yes, we have that in
school.
Common too. You're a CMSD dad?
Yeah,
I'm
sure
a CMSD dad.
Wow, I never looked at. I am a CMSD dad. Oh my God, what have I become, man? Oh man, I knew I was getting older, man. When my daughter was listening to something, I said, "What? Turn that off."
Yeah.
I said, "That sounds just like my mother." Man.
I'm gonna set you up with a minivan.
Yeah, I'll put a car seat back there.
We'll put a car. Yeah.
That's funny. Well, this is a really important. How do you feel? I mean, how do you feel? Like we have a CEO, Eric Gordon, of CMSD. How do you feel things are going? Do you see keeping leadership the same, or do you see making a change?
Well, I think that things are going reasonably well, but too slow. I think Eric Gordon has been a good CEO. I've had conversations with him about, what his intention might be. So, somebody like Eric Gordon or Eric Gordon is a CEO that I can work with. I think that if you look at what has happened in recent years with graduation rates, with what we've done with, just the capital products, the buildings themselves, there has been improvement, but we're just not there yet. My daughter attends a great school, and I'm at William Rainey Harper in your campus.
Campus.
All right, these are great schools, but we can't survive with a system where there are great buildings in an otherwise struggling system. We have to lift the whole system if we're going to succeed.
How will you be different from Mayor Jackson in dealing with education?
Well, I think I'm not just going to be appointing board, and I'm not saying that Mayor Jackson didn't do this, but basically, I'll tell you what I'm going to do is, I am going to demand results in every building, and that we have to just have more of a system-wide approach and not have just a few buildings that are exceeding while others are struggling. Another thing I'm going to do is I think that there really is an avenue to encourage academic success if we start with, more career education, more readiness, not in the 10th and 11th grade, but in the 5th and 6th grade.
I love it.
And give kids hope. Because I think right now there's a lot of kids that just don't have hope that this economy is for them, that if they study, if they stay in school, that they too can be making $60,000, $70,000, $100,000. But it is reality right now, because our scholars have this great thing called Say Yes to Education, which will pay for college education for every CMSD graduate. So, whether it's a bachelor's degree, an associate's degree, a skilled manufacturing, apprenticeship program, it's all there.
And you actually got the endorsement from the Cleveland Teachers Union.
I did. I got the endorsement from Cleveland Teachers Union, and I'm very proud of that. And I think that they do a great job with the resource they have in educating our kids. But, we have to make sure that our kids believe.
Do you think it's important to have more Black teachers?
I do. But the question is, we can all believe that, and we can all think that, but how do you do it? And that's where the challenge lies.
I think you said something earlier I was really actually surprised that you said it. I'm a graduate of HBCU.
You're a Morehouse man.
I'm a Morehouse man. Oh, you said it right, man. That's good.
Yep.
People usually get that wrong. You're a Morehouse guy. You're from Morehouse University. I'm like, no, it's Morehouse College, Morehouse man. But so when you talked about, and I went to grad school at Howard University. So when you talked about that, I said, wow, that's really interesting that we have to, and here in Ohio, we have Central State and we have Wilberforce. So we have some of these institutions here, but as a school district, I really like the fact that you brought up creating that bridge between HBCUs in our city to increase Black teachers, Black police officers, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Education has always been, a priority for me. If poverty is jail, for me, education is the key. you know.
Well said.
And I think about my principal back at MLK. I think about my teachers, and I just a smile comes over my face because they helped transform me. Or principals over at Glenville, Miss Jackie Bell over there, and Miss Miller over there at Collinwood, and so many great principals and educators here in the city who just never have the opportunity to take their ideas and their successes to that next level. Because once you leave the school, there's autonomy at the school level, but once you get into the superintendents or the upper management, there's something that's happening in between the two. And I know as mayor, you have to focus on, leading the city and dealing with crisis and economic development. But, what do you plan to do? What do you say to those principals like Jackie Bell at Glenville High School, who has been doing a phenomenal job for years and years and years and years, but feels that her voice isn't heard on the upper level?
We need to make sure we are listening better. We need to make sure we're listening to principals and teachers. When you look at what happened, for example, when COVID hit, all of a sudden we expected teachers to go from teaching a subject matter to being teachers of how to use technology.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And how to, tell people how to, upload their assignments, whether they're using a MacBook Air or a Chromebook.
I'm just laughing.
Yeah.
Have you seen all those videos of the kids?
Oh, yeah.
And like the mother is walking out, she's, singing and stuff. Mute your computer.
Yeah.
Mute your computer, Simon. Yeah. So
That's
that
what
was just
teachers
funny.
had to deal with. And we can't, we really have to move, as we move forward, we have to just understand what kids bring with them to the classroom, to the school, that the teachers have to deal with. Mm-hmm. And we need to make sure support the needs of the kids so that the teachers can teach. Now, the teachers, just by their very role, they end up, having to be that person that is that counselor and listens to the challenges that the child's facing. But we really need to free them up to teach more. We need more wraparound services. Right now,
Talk about that, the wraparound services.
So there's a lot of wraparound services that are available through Say Yes to Education, but also when you look at what we were doing with our program with the rec centers, where we have social workers in the rec centers, and we can expand out where we are attacking, or where we are trying to relieve, I should say, is probably a better word, the toxic stress that kids see as kids, as 12-year-olds. I mean, I am just shocked what I hear kids see. Kids have seen more before their 12th birthday than I've seen my whole life. Wow. And that is something that we have to deal with, that they can't learn when they're walking around with all this stress and all the toxicity that they've had to
I know that experience, President Kelley, man. I grew up in that, man. And that's why education is so important to me, and that's why you too. I mean, that's why you are doing what you've done. It's your past that brings about your why, and there's children out there who are like us, who are like you, and it's up to us to save them, and education plays a major part. I mean, wraparound services saved my life. I mean, the BRIC program, which was a male mentoring program, brotherhood, respect, intelligence, conduct, and knowledge. I still remember that, right? I mean, 85% of student achievement has nothing to do with the schools you go to, but as you talked about, what you're bringing to the school. So wraparound services. So as mayor, will you put the full city backing behind making sure that the Cleveland School District becomes a primary? Will you put the city's resources behind the full backing of the city behind the school district and for its success?
Yes, and a couple more specifics is we need to make sure that every parent who wants to use pre-K, that we expand, pre-K for every single parent that wants to use it. We need to expand after-school programming as well, so that kids have a safe place to be and parents have a safe place for their child to go while they're working, so that they can work and bring food home for the family and resource home for the family. We need to do all that all the time, so that we are making sure that we are supporting those students, their parents, and the teachers, so that they can just succeed, so that they can just focus on their studies, focus on the things we're asking them to do. And we're asking them through Say Yes to just stay the course, just stay with your studies, graduate from CMSD, and then we will provide a bachelor's degree for you. We'll provide an associate's degree. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, I've heard you talk about student debt before, and I've got my own. Yeah. But can you imagine graduating without any student debt?
Man, if I could have went to Morehouse and didn't have to pay any money.
Imagine that.
Yeah, that's
That'd
awesome.
be great. So those are things we owe our kids.
So you don't plan to be silent about education.
You're
going to be pretty loud.
Yeah, like I say, I'm a CMSD dad, and that's not an option.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Well, this is something that is really important to me. And, endorsing you for mayor wasn't a hard choice. You're somebody that I know, and you have truly helped me leave a legacy in the neighborhood that I grew up in, from building parks to almost $500 million of investment to organizations like Magnet and others that'll be providing manufacturing opportunities for the community. 5 brand new parks in Ward 7, totally redone recreation center in Kavasik, and just your leadership and you just sitting down with me and saying, Bashir, I know you want to burn this system down, but let me instead show you the way to be progressive while you're here. And I never forget that. In closing, man, you just talk to the people. Is this our final episode? What makes you different from the Jackson administration? Are you going to continue the same path as before you, or are you going to forge a new path? And what does that look like? Please let them know.
Thank you. And first off, I just want to tell you what an honor it is to have your endorsement and to have worked with you, because like you say, working together, we've been able to bring tremendous resources to Ward 7. And the Ward 7 is due those resources. It is something that is a part of an just and equitable plan. On Mayor Jackson, what's going to happen in the future? Frank Jackson has been a mayor for the past 16 years, and he's done some great things. He has led us through 2 major recessions. He's kept the financial foundation of the city in order. He's kept our bond ratings high, and there's been a lot of great things that have happened over that time. But that being said, every generation is given a different set of challenges, and right now, there's a different set of challenges, and I have a different set of solutions. And I'm looking forward to hitting the ground running on day one to really deal with the fact that we have to make sure that we are dealing with this safety issue. We need to make sure that Cleveland's, our city services are top of the line. Education, jobs, we've got to stop this talking about workforce development as an academic issue. We got to get people trained and skilled for jobs. We have to stop digital divide once and for all. We have to give kids, workers, access to opportunity. We have to make sure, and I'm going to ensure, that when I am mayor, your health outcomes cannot, should not, will not be dictated by your zip code. It has to be in the healthcare capital of the world. That's not tolerable. The challenges are different than they were for Mayor Jackson. The challenges that COVID have given us are new, and we haven't seen them before. I'm ready to go. These challenges are going to be our generations, and I'm ready to accept them and take them and work for solutions.
This has been a great opportunity, man, to spend time with Council President Kevin Kelley and the next mayor of this great city of Cleveland. We are excited to work with him and work under his leadership towards making sure that this becomes a city that all people feel welcome, whether you are immigrant, whether you are black, whether you're white, east side, west side. No matter where you come from, no matter what you believe, no matter how you choose to live, you should feel safe and sound here in this city. And our next mayor, Kevin Kelley, will make sure of it.
Councilman, it's been an honor, as always.
Pleasure,
Appreciate
man.
the conversations, even the tough questions.
Yeah, thank you so
Especially
much.
the tough questions.
Especially the one. I had to do it, man. I
Yeah,
had
that's
to.
what we do.
All right. Appreciate you guys, man. Peace.